What does it take for you to race?
I just love to ride my bike.
No longer confined to Earth, now we had learned to fly.
Why these days we see more directors, cinema directors, making movies about real-life stories, real-life characters, something that was restricted to documentaries in the old days.
You know, when the American studios retreated into making these very, very expensive films with, you know, with Marvel or whoever it was, they somehow retreated from real American life. They retreated from real life all over the place. So I could see that other people have moved in to occupy the land that they abandoned. Television, independent films. But why fiction has been so downgraded, I don't know.
He's recovered from cancer. I'm turned into bloody Superman. Why are you so obsessed with this? Why are you not obsessed with this?
If it could say at the beginning, this is a true story, the audience start further down the track, as it were. So the old notion of fiction that I grew up in, of a sort of concealed history, westerns and popular films that Hollywood made, that seems to have got out of the window. But don't ask me why. Well, all you're trying to do is find good stories, aren't you?
And reality is more interesting than the imagination.
It seems to be at the moment, but the implication of that is, as you say, how could it be more interesting than the imagination? And anyway, I like it when you start with a real story and then you use your imagination. But it is quite shocking.
And don't you feel, as a director, that you have more freedom to tell a fictional story than a real story, where you have to be, at least you have to be responsible for telling...
It's so long since I made a real... I can't remember when I last made a fiction film. What a terrible thing to say. Terrible thing to say. I never think of it in terms of freedom, but that may just because I've been ground down by the sense of responsibility.
Speaking of the sense of responsibility, you made several movies about real people, and you have stated in the past that you have not met any of them. Is that correct? Including Lance Armstrong.
I never met Lance Armstrong, yeah. Now I think about it, yes, I never met anybody.
Good evening, ma'am. I'm sorry to disturb, but it's the Princess of Wales.
Why? What's she done now?
That's interesting. Why have you avoided that? Because
well,
obviously,
Queen...
had you met them, you would have found new insights in these characters.
No, I don't agree at all. I mean... Well, Lance Armstrong is unfortunate about Lance Armstrong because he's a famous liar, so I'm not sure there would be much insight there. And I don't really think the Queen would have revealed all to this one of her subjects.
Diana's no longer a member of the royal family.
What are you talking about?
You know, and Tony Blair was a sort of... He was clever at all of that, of keeping his image shining bright.
And congratulations.
I mean, that would seem to me impertinent to try to pretend that you understood about his private life, because I don't know anything about his private life. I can say that he took drugs in this way, and he won races because he took drugs. And he lied, and he bullied, and he destroyed people's lives.
He wins, and he celebrates, he meets the president, he gets more sponsors, more money, more fame. The man is a cheat.
When you set out to make one of those movies about real people, do you judge him, or do you have an idea?
No, you just say this is what he did.
And you present an objective perspective, and you let
well, in as much
the audience
as you can,
judge it.
You say this is what the Queen did that week.
To invite you to become Prime Minister and to form a government.
I can only tell you what she did. I don't like to make up people's minds for them.
Yes.
I'm asking this because you are known for having your all political opinions, and it's known you revealed that you're not a big fan of Tony Blair.
No.
And my question is, your perspective and your moral values, do you inject them in your movies when you set out?
I don't do it deliberately, but I can see that they presumably inform every decision I make.
In most of your movies, actors end up winning accolades and Oscars and nominations. And in this movie, Ben Foster does an incredible job. What do you do to them? What is your recipe to draw these amazing performances?
I can see that a director like Kazan, was interested in how an actor reached his performance. I haven't a clue about all of that. I just expect them to turn up on the first day and be brilliant.
And they just do it?
And be brilliant.
So it is in the casting, in your selection?
I think it's entirely in the casting, yeah.
And it's interesting, you often use Hollywood actors, big stars.
If I can afford them.
And obviously they come. I don't know how much you pay them. Yet you did leave Hollywood after a while.
Well, no, I didn't leave Hollywood. It was just, I made a studio film there, and then I made a studio film in England, and I learned things about myself, which made me think that wasn't a very sensible idea.
You're not tempted to go back and do these big movies?
You know, they're not stupid people. They take one look at me and they think, I think this is probably a mistake. I don't, you know, it's the game is up, really. I wouldn't give me 200 million.
Well, they keep nominating you for Oscars.
That's different. I wouldn't give me 200 million to make a cartoon film.
Stephen, thank you very much.
Pleasure.